Olá, eu sou Bruno Isidro e o Start entrevistou a Nintendo. Nós conversamos com a Romina Whitlock, diretora de marketing da Nintendo para a América Latina. O papo foi sobre o retorno da Nintendo para o Brasil, o lançamento em território nacional do Nintendo Switch, que aconteceu no último dia 18 de setembro de 2020, e os próximos passos da empresa aqui no país. Só que antes, alguns recados. Primeiro, que a captação da imagem pode não estar em uma boa qualidade. A entrevista aconteceu online, afinal nós estamos ainda em quarentena. Até por causa disso, vocês podem ouvir alguns sons de notificação durante a fala da Romina, por isso nós pedimos desculpas. A entrevista ela foi editada para melhor compreensão de vocês e ela aconteceu em inglês, mas não se preocupa que vai ter legendas aqui em português para vocês entenderem tudo o que ela fala. Bom, então é isso, sem mais delongas, acompanhe aí a entrevista com a Nintendo.
This has been happening for a while. It's actually been in the works for us since as soon as we launched Switch, we said, how do we get Switch to Brazil? It's just not as easy, right? So we kind of went in phases. If you remember, if you think back, we launched Switch in 2017, and then we started working, and we thought, okay, well, it'll take longer to launch hardware, right? But maybe at least we can make software available for gamers and people that have a Switch. And so that is when we launched Loja Nintendo, which was really helpful to some because you could buy the games, on an international eShops, but Loja Nintendo allowed you to buy the games with local payment methods that make it more attainable. So that was kind of like the first little step. And then we thought, okay, well, we have to make it more accessible. And so then we launched post-it cards, which are content cards that by the codes. So we launched the cards in October of 2018, I think.
Yeah, 2018 was the BGS 2018.
Yes, so we were there, but kind of like just behind the scenes. And we launched also digital content like on B2W and those kind of sites. And so we did a little bit more. And then we thought, okay, we still want to be present. And what else can we offer in between? And then in 2019, we thought, okay, Pilar was in charge and led the way in opening dedicated social media channels. Because one of the things that we wanted to do was be able to communicate with fans in Portuguese and give them content that really spoke to them. A lot of Brazilian fans were following Nintendo on social media, but they were following the US side. And so we thought we need to give news, content, some fun stuff, all in Portuguese, right? And so Pilar, while we were working on the hardware, we were also working on how to engage and keep in communication. And so we opened Facebook and Instagram. And the timing of this launch is sort of just because it's ready, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we were working and there's certain logistical steps that you need to take, like certification and figure out how you're going to distribute your product. But it's not like we had in mind 2 years ago, okay, September 2020, especially in the midst of such a hard time for the world, right? In the middle of the pandemic, it was just completely because we were finally ready. The launch, it was affected. We were gonna launch earlier, but there were certain steps that couldn't get done. There's certain rework, like the plug, right? We have to put in a special plug, little things like that. And those are things that are all done here in the US. And so there was a delay. And finally we were able to, as we came back to work in small dosages, right? There are some places that can work with different setups. And we were able to get the rework and the product shipped. It was just ready. It's truly, there was no intention or non-intention. We were late actually to my, in my heart, we were like years late, but into the plan, we were, Corona did affect us. way that we've approached Brazil this time is very different than how we approach entering and managing our business in the rest of Latin America, where we just do it through one exclusive distributor. So it's a different approach right off the bat, because we've had one exclusive distributor in Latin America, and now we have two not exclusive in Brazil. So it gives us flexibility as well, right? And how important is that? It's very important. So Brazil, just if you just go by numbers, like forget about like how cool or fun or whatever, if you just go by numbers, Brazil is the biggest country in all of our region. It's, in terms of how they should compare in the world, it's the 9th economy of the world. If you look at the population, so the potential, right? The potential that you have as a business when they go, the population, again, if I'm looking at all the Americas, it's got 20% of the population of all the Americas for us, right? So it's sort of like, how can you not look at Brazil when you look at all of just the numbers? And then if you just look at also, that's one side, and then maybe more on the softer side, I've seen a lot of fans, I've met a lot of fans, and I've seen passion for the brand, but I feel like Brazil takes it to a whole new level in terms of fans and just the love of the games and the brand. So for us, it was sort of like those two things, to be honest. One, numbers driven, and the other one more like, say, Nintendistas and their passion driven, that said, okay, let's make sure that we find a way to make this work. And so the way that we landed here was the fastest way we could get here. There are other ways to get here, but this is the fastest we could find. As a consumer myself, I completely understand the need to have localized content. And I feel like we're a little bit of ways from that still yet. I unfortunately can't. I wish I could tell you yes from now on, and I can't do that just yet. What we're doing is we're trying to, again, just thinking about like all the touch points of our consumers. There's that one, and that one's very big, localized content, but I'll come back to that. But there's other things that we can do, like right now, like for example, right now, we're also offering service. Right, and that is another part of the experience that as a company we value as well, the consumer experience, the journey of, okay, you bought, but then you need some help. So now at least Brazilians can service their products in country, whether it is continue to add first and third party games to Loja, or if there's an eShop coming, there's an evolution of how much we can do. The localization part is very, very interesting, because we have, if you step back, as a company, we're a small company compared to some, right? And we're an organization that's pretty flat. And so the resources that we have dedicated to translation and localization of games, they're kind of the same resources, right? So whether the game is on Nintendo Switch or it's a mobile game, it's localization. And so the focus has been a bit more on the mobile games, as you've noticed, because we have mobile games that are localized. Yeah. So meanwhile, so it isn't console games, but at least there are some games that are localized that happen to be on your phone. I think these are all kind of baby steps in the right direction. If you think back at what I explained about like first Loja, then Posa, then VGS, they're all little things that we're adding, and slowly they will add up to the complete customer and consumer and fan experience that we hope we can offer one day and be the same everywhere in the world, so that they're all equal. So I would want that too, for sure. I definitely do. But at this time, it isn't something that we can say, oh yeah, and this is also happening. Not yet. To be honest, I don't think even next year. The localization process is a very long one, because the development process is very long too. So and maybe I'm wrong. So I hope I'm wrong. I just don't have any information that would tell me, or at least today. But I think there's so many other things in terms of the foundation that we need to lay that need to happen. So we need to demonstrate a solid business model, right? At the end of the day, we still work for a company. So we have to make sure that our distribution channels are good, that they can grow, that we can scale this. So it's not like Nintendo's here and then Nintendo's out. No, we want to be here and we want to stay. And one of the things to make sure that that happens, that we have to do kind of small building blocks on the business side, right? To justify the additional support, which would be localization. In the 90s, we did have manufacturing locally, and because of the way that Brazil works, when you manufacture locally, as you probably know better than anybody, you get some sort of tax breaks coming in. So once you pick a model like we are doing right now, which is importing product, there are some high taxes and duties that come with that model. So there are pros and cons to both, because if you want to manufacture, that would have been it would have taken us longer. It's a bigger investment. You have to kind of create a company in this new country. And so I think, had we chosen that, we would have definitely not been able to launch this early on with this product. So that's what I mean by there is a give and take. The model that we're choosing is for this time that we're going in, is not to manufacture. We are importing product through 2 distributors. Right now we have Ingram Micro Brazil and Arcel, and our model is that we import product and we try to make it in such a way where, yes, the other side of that is that now we're being, we have taxes and duties to pay, but we're working with them to make the price, the cost of this product not be astronomical. So the price of the product today is $2,999. Yeah, so that's a suggested retail price. And that is, as we thought, as good as it can get with this model right now. And the other reason why, for example, all of our strategies behind games are digital is because of the very high duties that go behind the cartridge. So we don't have officially physical games in Brazil because the cost of bringing that to Brazil would have been so high that it wouldn't have made sense for, we also have to think of the experience of the fan and make it reasonable, right? And so the way that we can get games officially to the fan and not have to tax them too, right? Because eventually we're all paying more money, is digitally. So the approach, the strategy is to be via distributors, and it's a digital play only for games. So the video game area left Brazil, you could say, but we have a whole bunch of other things. As a company, we look at ourselves as an entertainment company. And so one of the things that I loved about going to Brazil, even when we were not with our video games there, was seeing if you see all the merchandise that exists, the IP, the way that it's being used, right? So we do have the IPs that are born and grow within a game, but then you see partnerships that we do through the region with like Happy Meals, or where you can get the toys, or you have Riachuelo that has tons of cool merchandising. So the touch points we're still there. I think a lot of, so you would see like backpacks. So there were a lot of things, licensed products that never left. Actually, it's, I think, one of the reasons why little kids still know who Mario is, right? Because they have all these toys. And Lego also came up with we have a partnership with Lego this year, or clothing, like Levi's and Puma. So The plan is to continue in every column that, or I'd say like every business, right? So the video game, it's established, the licensing is there. We have a theme park that's supposed to open, and hopefully will in Japan. But it's all these touch points. And so, what is the plan for Brazil? Eventually, would be to have a little bit of all of those, right? It would be not just the video games, but it's the whole offering that is the experience of the interaction of a person with the IP. And particularly for video games, we want to continue to be more accessible. And so we started with what I would call a very targeted approach. We're not everywhere. We're in Lojas Americanas, in Magazine Luiza, and then in just americanas.com and submarino.com and magalu.com. They're their website as well. So it's kind of targeted, right? It's not like whoosh, everywhere. So eventually it would be great to make it more accessible, spread our wings. Like I said, it would be great to have a full experience for the fan, not have to be an off-device code. It would on-device download would be great from an eShop, So our plan for our team is to continue to build on like these little steps. It's all the same team, so we're gonna have to take it easy, right, one at a time, but to build on the experience. At the end of the day, honestly, we want the Brazilian fan to get the full experience that they deserve, right? We want them to be able to service their products, buy all the products they want, play the games that they want to play, and have it be accessible. So we definitely have a long-term plan. This is not like let's go today and forget about tomorrow. No, this is it's a very intentional approach that we're taking.